now that we've talked about where these intercepts are on the graph, right? Now that we've talked about where the intercepts are on the graph, how do we find the intercepts from an equation? Okay, and we're going to talk first about y-intercepts. So in this video, we're going to talk about finding the y-intercept in a quadratic equation. Okay, and we're going to be talking about quadratic equations in standard form. And what does that look like? That looks like y equals, right? Now, when we see linear form, right, it's y equals mx plus b, and standard form is a different form, right? But in quadratics, this is called standard form of a quadratic, right? So there's a number times x squared plus a number times x plus a number, okay? Now, here's the thing. What we learned earlier in the year doesn't change. When we were looking for y-intercepts earlier in the year, we would plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept, always, and that has not changed. And why is that? Because the y-intercept is always going to be on the y-axis, and on the y-axis, those points are always going to have a 0 value for x. Okay, so let's take a look what it ends up looking like. And I'm really going to super show you the long way here, but I want you to look for patterns and structure and see if you can't figure out a shorter way to do this for yourself. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So see this x right here? I'm going to plug in 0. See this x right here? I'm going to plug in 0, right? Okay, and this video's code word is pig, P-I-G, like oink oink, a pig, P-I-G, pig, okay? That's the code word for this video. Now here, what happens here with this math? This is 0 squared, that's 0 times 0, that's 0, times 3, that's 0. This is negative 2 times 0, that's also 0, right? So when I bring all this down, I end up with 0 minus 0, it's just 0, plus 7. So my y-intercept is 7. So what does that mean? That means that I have plugged in, look, it's a point. The y-intercept is a point on the graph. So I have plugged in 0 for x. So notice my x value is 0. Why? Because I made x 0. See, I chose this. I was like, oh, see this x right here? I'm going to put a 0 instead. See this x right here? I'm going to put a 0 instead. And what does that result in my y value being? It results in my y value being 7. So if I were to take a graph, and I wanted to graph this point 0, 7, I would start here at the origin, I would count up 7, and that would be my point, 0, 7 on the graph. And notice it is on the y-axis. Let's do one more example. Okay, and remember, you are looking for some kind of shortcut here. You see if you can figure it out. I'm going to show you one more example, and you see if you can figure out a shorter way to do this. Okay? So again, I'm plugging in 0 for x. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to do the math. This is 0 times 0 times negative 2 is still 0. This is 5 times 0, that's 0. And I get 0 plus 0, which is 0, minus 4. That's y is negative 4. So my y-intercept, once again, my x value is 0. My y-intercept is negative 4. And if I were to go put that on the graph, I would start here. I would count down 4. Okay, and this video is almost over. Remember, our code word is pig. All right, there we go. Now, for the next few questions, you're just going to do 2 practice problems on this. So feel free to go ahead and set up question number 8 and question number 9 right there.